Reaching 60 years old is already a blessing, but what if I told you that if you've made it to 60 without 5 specific diseases, your chances of living past 100 years old just skyrocketed? And I'm not talking about luck here, I'm talking about real medical data that shows exactly which health conditions are the biggest threats to your longevity, and if you don't have them by 60, your body has already proven it knows how to protect itself in ways that most people never achieve. And today, I'm going to reveal exactly which 5 diseases these are, and more importantly, what you need to do right now to keep them away for the next 40 years of your life. Because yes, you could have 4 more decades ahead of you if you play your cards right. My name is Dr. Rebecca Parker, and I've worked as a physician for over 20 years, and today I focus specifically on senior health, and I can tell you from decades of experience that reaching 100 years old is not about genetics alone, it's about the choices you make every single day and the diseases you manage to avoid. And what I'm about to share with you today could literally add decades to your life, so stay with me because this information is too important to miss. You're not alone in wanting to live a long, healthy life, and thousands of seniors across America are discovering right now that longevity isn't some mysterious gift, it's actually predictable. And if you've reached 60 without the 5 diseases I'm about to reveal, you've already won half the battle. But here's the critical part: you need to know what these diseases are so you can keep avoiding them, because even though you've made it this far without them, they can still show up if you're not careful. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to give you the knowledge and the tools to protect yourself for the next 40 years. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people live to 95, 100, even 105, while others don't make it past 70 even when they seemed healthy in their 60s? And the answer isn't what most people think. It's not about eating perfectly or exercising like an athlete every day. It's about avoiding 5 specific chronic diseases that researchers have identified as the biggest killers and age accelerators in America. And these 5 diseases are responsible for cutting short more lives than anything else. And if you don't have them by age 60, your body has already demonstrated an incredible ability to stay healthy, but you need to keep that protection going strong. The first disease that you absolutely must avoid is type 2 diabetes. And if you've made it to 60 without diabetes, you're already in an elite group, because nearly 1 in 4 Americans over 60 has this disease. And here's why diabetes is so dangerous. It doesn't just affect your blood sugar, it attacks every single system in your body. And when your blood sugar stays high for years, it damages your blood vessels, your nerves, your kidneys, your eyes, and especially your heart and brain. And this is where it gets really serious, because diabetes dramatically increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, blindness, and even dementia, which are some of the other major diseases we're going to talk about. And people with diabetes don't just die younger. They also spend their final years dealing with complications like amputations, dialysis, and loss of independence, which nobody wants. So if you don't have diabetes right now, you need to do everything in your power to keep it that way. And the good news is that type 2 diabetes is largely preventable through lifestyle choices. And that means controlling your weight, staying active, and watching what you eat, especially when it comes to sugar and refined carbohydrates. And I know that might sound simple, but the truth is most Americans struggle with this because our food environment is set up to make us sick with processed foods everywhere and huge portions and constant snacking. But you have the power to make different choices starting today. If this resonates with you, hit that like button because it helps other seniors find this material, and I want as many people as possible to learn how to protect themselves from these diseases. Now let's talk about the second disease you need to avoid, and this one is the #1 killer in America: heart disease. And this includes conditions like coronary artery disease, heart attacks, heart failure, and arrhythmias. And if you've reached 60 with a healthy heart, you're doing something incredibly right, because heart disease kills more Americans than any other condition, and it's especially deadly for seniors. And here's what happens with heart disease: your arteries become clogged with plaque, which is made up of cholesterol, fat, and other substances. And as this plaque builds up, your arteries get narrower and narrower until eventually blood can't flow properly to your heart. And that's when you have a heart attack, or your heart just stops working efficiently and becomes weak. But heart disease doesn't just happen overnight, it develops over decades. And it's driven by things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, obesity, diabetes, lack of exercise, and chronic stress. And many of these risk factors are completely within your Control, and that's the empowering part, and doctors across America have been saying for years that heart disease is largely preventable, but it requires consistent healthy habits, and if you've made it to 60 without heart disease, that means your lifestyle choices have been protecting you, but you can't get complacent now because heart disease can still develop even in your 60s, 70s, and 80s if you let your guard down. What you need to do is keep your blood pressure under control, keep your cholesterol in a healthy range, stay physically active, eat a heart-healthy diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fish, and healthy fats like olive oil, and avoid smoking and excessive alcohol. And I know that during those long winter months, especially in the Midwest and Northeast, it can be hard to stay active, but even walking around your local mall or doing chair exercises at home can make a massive difference, and your heart will thank you for it. The third disease that's absolutely critical to avoid is stroke, and stroke is one of the most devastating conditions because it can leave you paralyzed, unable to speak, or completely dependent on others for basic care, and nobody wants to lose their independence like that. And if you've reached 60 without having a stroke, you've avoided one of the most frightening health events that can happen to a senior, and strokes happen when blood flow to part of your brain gets cut off, either because a blood vessel gets blocked by a clot or because a blood vessel bursts, and when your brain cells don't get oxygen, they start dying within minutes, and the damage can be permanent. And here's the scary part: stroke can happen suddenly without warning. 1 minute you're fine, and the next minute you can't move one side of your body, or you can't speak, and the effects can be devastating, and stroke is the leading cause of long-term disability in America, and many stroke survivors never fully recover, and they need help with eating, dressing, bathing, and everything else, and that's why preventing stroke is so important. And the good news is that many of the same things that prevent heart disease also prevent stroke because they're closely related, and that includes controlling your blood pressure, which is the #1 risk factor for stroke, and keeping your cholesterol healthy, staying active, maintaining a healthy weight, and avoiding smoking. And if you have diabetes, you need to manage it carefully because high blood sugar damages blood vessels in your brain just like it does in your heart, and your doctor can also check if you have atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heartbeat that increases stroke risk. And if you do, there are medications that can help prevent clots from forming, and I've seen so many patients avoid stroke simply by taking their blood pressure medication consistently and making healthy lifestyle changes, and you can too. Now, before I continue, let me share something important with you, and if you want access to exclusive content, recipes, and deeper medical advice about preventing these diseases and living to 100, become a channel member, because there I share even more detailed information, protocols, and personal guidance that I can't fit into these videos, and it's a great way to get extra support on your health journey. Let's move on to the fourth disease, and this one is particularly heartbreaking because it steals not just your health, but your memories, your personality, and your very identity. And I'm talking about dementia, especially Alzheimer's disease. And if you've reached 60, with your mind sharp and your memory intact, you have something incredibly precious, and dementia affects millions of American seniors, and the numbers are growing every year, and it's one of the most feared diseases because it slowly takes away everything that makes you who you are, and people with dementia gradually lose their ability to remember things, recognize loved ones, take care of themselves, and eventually even speak or swallow. And what makes dementia so cruel is that it doesn't just affect the person who has it, it devastates entire families who have to watch their loved one disappear right before their eyes, and many dementia patients end up in nursing homes because they need 24-hour care, and the financial and emotional burden is enormous. And this is why avoiding dementia is so critical if you want to live to 100, because what's the point of living that long if you don't even know who you are or recognize your own children and grandchildren? Now the science on dementia prevention has come a long way, and while we don't have a cure yet, we know that certain lifestyle factors make a huge difference, and the same things that protect your heart and prevent stroke also protect your brain, and that's because your brain needs healthy blood flow to function, and anything that damages your blood vessels like high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, and high cholesterol also increases your dementia risk, and beyond that, staying mentally active is crucial, and that means reading, learning new things, doing puzzles, playing games, staying socially connected, and challenging your brain regularly. And physical exercise is also one of the best things you can do for your brain because it increases blood flow, reduces inflammation, and actually helps your brain grow new connections. And even simple activities like walking 30 minutes a day can significantly reduce your dementia risk, and diet matters too, and research shows that diets rich in vegetables, especially leafy greens, berries, fish, whole grains, and healthy fats like olive oil can protect your brain, and this is sometimes called the Mediterranean diet or the MIND diet, and it's been proven to reduce dementia risk, and getting good quality sleep is also essential because that's when your brain clears out toxins that build up during the day. Write in the comments, have you been doing any of these brain-protecting activities? And do you have any strategies that work for you? Because your experience could help others watching this video. Now we come to the fifth and final disease that you need to avoid if you want to live to 100, and this one is cancer, and cancer is the second leading cause of death in America right after heart disease. And if you've reached 60 without cancer, you've dodged a major threat, but you need to stay vigilant because cancer risk actually increases with age, and by the time people reach their 60s, 70s, and 80s, cancer becomes more and more common, and the reason is that cancer develops when cells in your body start growing out of control, and over the years your cells accumulate damage from things like environmental toxins, smoking, sun exposure, poor diet, and just the natural aging process, and eventually some of those damaged cells can turn into cancer. Now, there are many different types of cancer, and some are more deadly than others, but the most common cancers in American seniors include lung cancer, colorectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and skin cancer, and many of these cancers are preventable, or at least can be caught early when they're still treatable, and that's the key: early detection, because when cancer is found early, the survival rates are much, much higher, but when it's found late, it's often too late to cure. So what can you do to avoid cancer? Well, first, if you smoke, stop immediately because smoking is the leading cause of lung cancer, and it also increases your risk of many other cancers. And if you've never smoked, that's fantastic. Keep it that way. And second, protect your skin from the sun, especially during the summer heat, because skin cancer is very common, but also very preventable. And wear sunscreen, protective clothing, and hats when you're outside. And third, get regular cancer screenings, and that includes colonoscopies for colorectal cancer, mammograms for breast cancer, PSA tests for prostate cancer, and skin checks. And these screenings can catch cancer early when it's most treatable, and Medicare covers most of these screenings, so there's no excuse not to get them. And fourth, maintain a healthy diet and lifestyle, because what you eat really matters, and diets high in processed meats, red meat, sugar, and processed foods increase cancer risk, while diets rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and fish reduce cancer risk. And staying at a healthy weight is also important because obesity increases the risk of several types of cancer, and staying physically active helps too because exercise reduces inflammation and helps your immune system function better, and your immune system is what finds and destroys cancer cells before they can grow into tumors. Now let me give you a simple protocol that can help you avoid all 5 of these diseases, and this is something you can start today, and it's based on the latest research on longevity and disease prevention, and I call it the Longevity Protocol, and here's what it includes. First, every morning start your day with a healthy breakfast that includes whole grains like oatmeal, which you can find at any grocery store across America, and add some berries like blueberries or strawberries, which are packed with antioxidants that fight inflammation and protect your cells, and include a source of protein like eggs or Greek yogurt. And this breakfast gives you steady energy, keeps your blood sugar stable, and provides nutrients your body needs to stay healthy. Second, make sure you're moving your body every single day, and you don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Just 30 minutes of walking is enough. And if the weather is bad, especially during those harsh American winters in the Northeast and Midwest, you can walk around your local mall or do simple exercises at home like marching in place, doing arm circles, or using light weights. And the key is consistency, because exercising regularly keeps your heart strong, your blood flowing, your brain sharp, and your weight under control. Third, eat at least 5 servings of vegetables and fruits every day, and focus on colorful options like leafy greens, carrots, tomatoes, bell peppers, berries, and apples. And you can get these at any local grocery store, from Walmart to your neighborhood market, and these foods are loaded with vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants that protect against all 5 of the diseases we've been talking about, and try to include fish like salmon or tuna at least twice a week because the omega-3 fat's in. Fish are incredibly protective for your heart and brain. 4th, stay socially connected because loneliness and isolation increase your risk of dementia, heart disease, and early death, and American seniors have wonderful opportunities to stay connected through Church Communities Volunteer Work Senior Centers retirement. Activities in family gatherings, and make it a priority to see friends and family regularly, talk on the phone, join clubs or groups, and stay involved in your community because social connection is just as important as diet and exercise. And 5th, get regular checkups with your doctor, and don't skip your screenings, and that includes blood pressure checks, cholesterol tests, blood sugar tests, cancer screenings, and any other tests your doctor recommends. And catching problems early makes all the difference, Anne. Most of these are covered by Medicare, so take advantage of them. And if you don't have a regular doctor, find one at a Medicare-covered facility near you and build a relationship with them, because having a doctor who knows you and your health history is invaluable. If this video has been helpful so far, hit that like button and let me know, because I want to make sure this information reaches as many seniors as possible. Now I want to share with you something that really drives this home, and I remember a patient of mine named Margaret who came to see me when she was 62 years old, and Margaret had been careful about her health her whole life, and she didn't smoke, she stayed active, she ate reasonably well, and when we did her checkup, she had no diabetes, no heart disease, no signs of stroke, no dementia, and no cancer. And I told her, Margaret, you're in an amazing position, and if you keep taking care of yourself, you could easily live into your 90s or even past 100, and she took that to heart, and over the next 20 years, I watched her continue making healthy choices, and she walked every single day, she ate plenty of vegetables and fish, she stayed involved in her Church community, she got all her screenings, and she managed her blood pressure with medication. And you know what? Margaret just celebrated her 85th birthday, and she's still going strong, and she lives independently, she drives, she volunteers, she spends time with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and her mind is sharp as ever. And when I see her, she always tells me, Dr. Parker, I'm so grateful I listened to you all those years ago, because I've gotten to see my grandchildren grow up, get married, and have babies of their own, and I wouldn't have missed that for anything. And that's the gift of longevity. It's not just about living longer, it's about being present for all the moments that matter. And here's what I need you to understand. You have that same opportunity, and if you've reached 60 without these 5 diseases, you're already ahead of the game. But you can't take it for granted, because these diseases can still develop if you're not careful, and every single day you have a choice to protect your health or to let it slip away. And I know it's not always easy, especially when you're bombarded with temptations like fast food and processed snacks everywhere you turn, and when it's cold outside and you don't feel like exercising, but I promise you the effort is worth it, because what you're really fighting for is your independence, your memories, your relationships, and the chance to see your children and grandchildren grow and thrive. Now let me be very clear about something. The longer you wait to make these changes, the harder it gets, and every day that you continue unhealthy habits is another day of damage to your body, and this could be life-threatening, because heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and dementia don't just make you sick, they can kill you, and they can rob you of the final years of your life. And nobody wants to spend their 80s in and out of hospitals or nursing homes, unable to take care of themselves. And you don't have to live like that, because you have the power to change your future starting right now today. Let me also tell you about what happens when people don't avoid these diseases, and I've seen it too many times. And I had another patient named Robert who reached 60 in decent health, but he didn't take it seriously, and he loved his hamburgers and fries. He barely exercised, he didn't take his blood pressure medication consistently, and he skipped his doctor's appointments. And by the time he was 68, he'd had a heart attack and developed diabetes. And then at 72, he had a stroke. That left him partially paralyzed, and he spent his final years in a nursing home, unable to walk or care for himself, and it broke my heart, because it didn't have to be that way, and if Robert had just made different choices, he could have had another 20 or 30 good years. So please don't be like Robert, be like Margaret, and take your health seriously, because you deserve a better life, and you deserve to live independently with dignity, surrounded by the people you love for as many years as possible, and your body has already shown you that it's capable of staying healthy by getting you to 60 without these 5 major diseases, and now your job is to keep that going. If this message is meaningful to you, please hit that like button one more time, because these algorithms need to know that this content matters and that it's helping people. Now let me give you one more piece of powerful information, and recent studies have shown that people who make it to 60 without diabetes, heart disease, stroke, dementia, or cancer have up to a 70% chance of living past 90, and some researchers even say that if you stay healthy into your 60s, your chances of reaching 100 go up dramatically, and that's because your body has proven it knows how to avoid the major killers, and all you have to do is keep supporting it with healthy choices. And this isn't just theory. This is backed by real data from longevity studies done right here in America and around the world. And here's something else that's encouraging. Even if you haven't been perfect with your health up until now, it's not too late to start, and your body is incredibly resilient, and it can heal and improve even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. And I've seen patients reverse prediabetes, lower their blood pressure, lose weight, improve their cholesterol, and reduce their inflammation just by making consistent healthy changes. And you can do the same, and every healthy meal you eat, every walk you take, every good night's sleep you get is an investment in your future, and those investments add up over time.